Hello everybody, goemonronin coming back to you again after a while of being absent. The webcam just came up again and said it wasn't recording audio, so I hope it really is, because it tends to give me that error a lot. Anyway, I just thought that I would come back with since I have some time to myself here this evening at 2:49 in the morning. When you do work on guitars, sometimes some interesting things come your way. So something interesting has come my way. Let me just try and show you the headstock here. See if any of you can guess what that is right away. Alright. This is a Cort Curbow 6-string bass. There it is. Now, my understanding is that Cort Curbow was a fairly well-known luthier. He died, I think, last year, 2013. He made his own Curbow bass, which was shaped pretty much the same, but generally they were made out of a little more exotic woods and such. And they were just stunning instruments. They were really, really nice. And then he got with Cort to make a slightly more affordable version, and that's what this is. So here's the lowdown on it. Where is this made? This is a Korean-made instrument. The hardware is this brushed nickel. This is a synthetic fretboard. It's made out of something called ebenol, which is some type of resin that reacts almost just like ebony, but it is not wood. Regardless of what you might be saying right there, you might be saying, "Oh, that really looks like ebony." It's not. It is a synthetic material. The neck itself, however, is a 5-piece maple neck. The ebenol fretboard wears really, really well. It doesn't, the strings don't chew it up real bad, and apparently it works real well for fretless applications. The strings on this thing are pretty much dead, so I'm going to leave them out of the equation. And then, I don't know if you can see it, but try and avoid putting in the fan right there, is the little tag that says Luthite body. And that is another synthetic material. So this guitar has a synthetic body and fingerboard. There's not much wood here other than the neck. Look at the neck pocket. It goes like, it's clear to here. This has been set up so somebody looks like they shimmed it a little to get lower action out of it. Personally, I think it's not set up great. But they didn't want me changing that, so. But it does have very low action. I mean, very low. If you like just playing standard bass, it's not bad. Sorry about that. I have been sick. So I'm also not a huge fan of this blue, but it's okay. The hardware's good. It's Cort quality all around. Now this does have one active Bartolini pickup. There's the battery case right there. It's not easy access, so You do have to open that up with a screwdriver to change the battery. Has a master volume, and then a 3-band EQ. It has this switch here. You might be going, well, what's this switch for? Well, that's called the slap switch. If you have it here, it's like standard bass. If you flip it up, it kind of scoops out the mid-range, and gives you a little more gain. And there are two little screws. See them right there in the back of the plate. That's mid and bass. So that's what you use to adjust that slap switch sound. I think the only one of the EQs that works is the treble when that's kicked in. But it is very much like going to the bridge pickup on like a 2-pickup bass. If like you turned because most 6-string basses with active electronics don't have selector switches, so like if you turned the neck volume all the way down and just had the bass pickup, it's a lot like that. Or imagine if you did have a selector switch. I said it is a very nice playing bass. The B strings are real nice on these. The strings on this thing are so kind of beat up that I think a new set of strings would be good too. But they didn't want to. I mean, you've seen a set of flat wound. These are round wound, but they're kind of thinking of going flat wound. You know, have you ever seen the cost of some of those? Even the half flats from GHS, they're like $27 for a set of strings, and that is also something to consider with a 6-string bass. When I first started playing guitar, I started playing bass, so guitar is something that I have. I went to because my brother didn't turn out to want to play his, so I started playing his guitar and my bass, and just kind of started picking up both instruments, and realized I could get more girls with guitar. It didn't really work out like that, but that was my thinking at the time. So, when I was a kid, when I first started kind of playing bass, a set of bass strings, just standard bass strings for a 4-string bass, were like $12, maybe as cheap as $8. Now that I think about it, maybe like $8. And guitar strings, you could get a pack of Hot Shot. These strings called Hot Shots, for like under $4, which was pretty good. They didn't last real long, but if you needed kind of a new set of strings, then it's a good way to go. I'm not advocating Baylor, I just found the mug. But I've been, as I've had this thing, I've been thinking, I kind of like this string thing, the sonic range is nice and all that. It'd be nice to have one. But what you got to realize when you take on the mantle of the 6-string bass is that the strings are just pricey for these. And I am using a string as a strap because this thing is heavy. I will say that. This thing is it weighs, it's heavy. It's like 10, 11 pounds, 11 pounds probably heavier feels heavier than a Les Paul. So heavier than 10 pounds. But like I said, overall, these are stunning basses. I'm surprised that there was one in the area at all. Cort no longer makes the 6-string version, so if you could get your hands on one of these, you would have something kind of rare. They do make the 5-string version still. And remember, 6-string bass isn't exactly for everybody, but once you wrap your head around it a little bit, it's not all. I don't have the biggest hands in the world. Wish I had something to compare them to. Here's a pen, standard ballpoint pen. So I don't have like these huge hands, right? But I can get around this thing, pretty well. I can I can play some. I can rattle off, a few chords here and there. So don't let your hands set you back. You just figure it out. There's just a style that works. Now, one thing that's a little bit challenging with 6-string bass is if I play, say, B up here, then that makes if I'm not quieting the other strings somehow, that makes all the other B's ring out, which it does become noticeable. So you need to practice muting the other strings, which, it just takes some practice, and it might be good to develop that habit on 4-string bass too, even though it's not as necessary. It is pretty nice to have E right there, where I can fret E now instead of having it open. I can actually fret it, and then I can fret A, and then I basically have my 4-string bass up here at the top from the 5th fret up. But I have that really low B if I need it as well. Oh, and you might look at this going, is that body tiny? Yeah, it is pretty small. Remember, my hands aren't that big. It's kind of because the neck's like right there. It's right by the pickup, so it makes the body makes it less necessary for the body to be big. And since it's synthetic material, that can be kind of pricey. So the less they have to use, the better. I do find that this is kind of I wish I could get my thumb in here, but actually it's not bad. It's not too bad. This thing does technically have 27 frets for one of the strings and 26 frets for two of the strings and 25 frets for all 4. So there's a little extended fret range there. I can get to all of it, even with my hands. I mean, I can get it. But I will say this, regardless of how this body looks, it is very uncomfortable to sit with. This ends up wanting to sit on your leg rather than this, and this is a very tiny little crotch here. You can't really get a meaty thigh in there, so that's kind of why I have this the string, the strap. I'd recommend sitting and playing with the strap, which you should do anyway, so your instrument's always at the same height, whether you're sitting or standing. It's the best way to practice. Anyway, I'll probably have the bass for a little while, so if anybody has any questions or needs me to show you anything in a different video, go ahead and ask. I really hope the audio recorded, because I'd hate to have to do this all over again. Anyway, again, I know it's been a while, but goemonronin, signing out.